The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
When you think about your father or your mother or anybody who passed away, that you want to do something, think of what their essence was. What did they represent in life? And then that's how you keep them alive. And I'm going to show you an example. There was a girl, her name was Batya Zakheim. I'm very friendly with her parents, Moshe and Venezia Zakheim. Batya got married. And Nebuch, I believe she was expecting, she was driving down to Lakewood, and she was killed in a car accident. And of course, the family was absolutely destroyed. But then Moshe and Venezia were thinking, what could they do? What did Batya represent? Now, what she did, she was a fabulous dancer, and she would bedavka go to those weddings where the Kalas were not wealthy, and they couldn't afford many people, and she would go and she would dance and do all kinds of shtick. So they decided, if Batya loved Kalas, they're going to open up an organization, and it's called Yad Batya LaKala. Now, all of you, I'm not going to give out the number, but you could all find it, or you could call me and I'll give it to you. But since that day, 1988, when she passed away, until today, they have given to so many Kalas dishes and essentials, appliances, pots and pans, and any household items. Moshe and Venezia told me, since then, you know how many Kalas they have helped? At least that they have a record of 24,000 Kalas. So Yad Batya Zakheim still lives. Because there are Kalas today that can't afford to put the whole trousseau or the whole thing together. And they call Yad Batya and they're vetted, they're checked out, and they get tremendous. So Batya Zakheim is still around today because of what her parents did. Here's another thing. I have dear friends Ella and Yankee Adler. They had a boy, Michael rather. He had a bar mitzvah. The kid was so beloved. He played music. He had so many talents. And maybe less than 3 months after his bar mitzvah, he had a brain aneurysm and he died. I mean, I remember going to the shiva. There was nothing to say. He just sat and cried. There was nothing to say. What do you say for a beautiful kid shortly after his bar mitzvah? But you know what they did? They decided to open an organization, Matnas Michael, and to give children of poor families pay for the tefillin. Tefillin is very expensive. And there's all gradations of tefillin. But they decided they're going to get tefillin for any child that can't afford it. And after a while, people started giving so much money to Matnas Michael that they started buying hats. And hats can also be expensive for bar mitzvah boys. And for a while, they even bought dresses for the mother for the bar mitzvah. So this happened in 1995. Until today, they've given out over 1,300 pairs of tefillin. Because that was a bar mitzvah boy. So they did something. Michael lives. Michael lives in the minds of 1,200 different families. That's incredible. So you take something that the person lived for and loved, and that's how you keep their memory alive. Now I want to tell you something that I did. I had a very close friend. I loved him. He was like a brother to me. His name was Sammy Hamburger. You know him from London. So Sammy, every time I went to London, I stayed either by him or by his parents. His father-in-law was Rabbi Emanuel Jacobowitz. And Nebuch, when he was 40 years old, he had a brain tumor and he Nebuch passed away. Now Sammy was the president of the local school. I think it was the Menorah Primary School. He had chavrusas with 10 different people. He was always learning with people. And every Friday, he would come to shul early in Monk's shul, and the boys, like the Priche boys, they would just come and tell him Divrei Torah. He just wanted to hear Dvar Torah from all the little kids. So everybody knew learning was special for him. I remember I flew in just for a day to be Menachem Avel, and then I came for the Shleishim. And I decided we got to do something for Sammy Hamburger. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to propose in front of 1,000 people, because that's how many people I knew were going to be there, that we should start something in London called TOT. T-O-T, Torah on the telephone. And I got the idea from Partners in Torah. And it would be Torah on the telephone, with Nishma Sammy Hamburger, and people would have partners or whatever, chavrusas, men with men, women with women, and I proposed it. And then I did something that I never did in my life. There was a fellow in the audience, his name was Dov Harris. I remember him from years before when I had once been engaged, and I was so impressed with him. And I said in front of 1,000 people, we're going to start Torah on the telephone, and Dov Harris is going to be the chairman. Now he has red hair, but his body, his head went red from the top of his head till his toes. But by the end of the speech, he had 6 people working with him. And they renamed the organization, a much better name than mine. They named it PAL, PAL, phone and learn. Today, and I go every year, except for COVID, we have 1,000 people coming in Elul for PAL. Today they have over 700 partners in Torah all around the UK, all over. All the Zecher Nishma, Sammy Hamburger, because he represents learning. So whether it's Yad Batya, or whether it's Michael Adler, or whether it's Sammy Hamburger, these people are living because somebody thought of something that they did and they stood for.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org